Hello, Hillary.
Oh, hello.
Well, don't you sound chipper today?
Well, we get to go on a field trip.
And we all know Hillary loves field trips.
It's like when you're 5 years old and you get your lunch pack, so we bring fun snacks, so we get to see cool people.
We bring charcuterie, we get wine.
It's like the Lunchable of our age.
It really is. So where are we going?
We are headed up Spring Mountain Road, all the way almost to the top, to Sherwin Family Vineyards.
One of the few remaining family-owned and operated places in Napa Valley. Pretty exciting.
And also some special friends of ours, which I think makes it even cooler.
Very special. Well, stay tuned.
Cheers. Hello, everybody, and welcome back for another fabulous episode. We are on location today.
On location for our, what episode?
30th.
30 episodes.
We should throw a big party, go on a big trip, just keep with the theme of 30.
Hillary, you're the only one that throws a party for 30. And that's for you, for your birthday. We don't do that for the podcast.
We could. We could get cupcakes, we could get streamers,
Oh,
we
God.
could go on a group trip, invite all our employees.
Shout out to Emma. All right. Well, we are on location today for our 30th episode up here at Sherwin Family Vineyards. Thank you for having us, guys. So we're with Matt and Steve of Sherwin Family Vineyards. So,
Welcome.
and we have some people in the audience too, which we should mention.
Undisclosed.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming up today. This is fun. Been looking forward to doing the podcast with
Yay.
you, and talk a little bit about the winery and stuff, and also dive into
Some crime.
Deep crime.
Some really...
deep crime.
Well, Hillary and I felt like we were trespassing a little bit today because I got us lost in the vineyard coming up here. But we made it. We didn't crash into any vines.
No.
We almost got stuck in some mud.
My car does have four-wheel drive. I came prepared.
Well, we made it. Anyway.
Barely.
We had a really cool quick tour of the rebuild. So just to catch everyone up to speed, well, actually, I guess, Matt, you should catch us up to speed on what happened up here and how you guys are rebuilding.
Yeah, so as a lot of folks know, during the 2020 fires, the glass fire, our winery burned up here on Spring Mountain, and so we've been working on the rebuild for a while now. My dad's been heading that up, and which is awesome, making great headway, and so it was fun to give you guys a little tour over there and show you about what's been going on. So it's definitely been a long road to recovery per se, but yeah, everything's been going good.
Nice.
Luckily my dad, I don't know if you guys know this, but he was in construction for about 25 years? 40? Well, 40 now, but yeah, leading up to moving up here, I think, probably 25 or 30 years, something like that. And so continue to do some projects and stuff in the meantime, but this is like the project of all time because it's, a rebuild, and I'll let my dad say a little bit more about the history and building it to begin. But I'll tell you, that day that the winery was burning down, it really hit home because all I could think about was remembering watching him build it. And no joke, him and one other guy, they framed the whole winery themselves. Bought old PG&E truck and to put on set the beams and all the trusses and everything. So to really watch something burn. That, I mean, for me, obviously it hit deep, but it even hit more deep to watch that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's kind of the, all what we do is labor of love. I mean, you guys know, so you have to love what you're doing, and so it really showed. But
yeah, it was a tough deal. You actually, I'm not the most sentimental guy that there is. Just pretty much get it done and move forward, move on. But watching the winery burn down, even 2 weeks after that situation, I don't think I could drive around with a dry eye around the property and look at the winery, and everything that I looked at, I touched. You know what I mean? I knew that we made special, door handles for big doors. We made rosettes for the shutters that were on the windows, and And, and then the more I thought about it, I think I always knew that I could rebuild, as long as you got the energy and but I think losing the memorabilia that we had developed over 25 years in the winery was like the biggest loss. Mm-hmm. It's like, etched bottles for the, Dallas Cowboys, or the special etched bottles of George and Barbara Bush, and with their silhouettes on it that, and pictures of me and Matt with the presidents in Dallas, at their, at their memorabilia auction. There was a wine and memorabilia auction. Just, I think those are the things that, and God, I could go on, but anyway, just a lot of great memories, and, at the end of the day, hey, I love working here. I love Spring Mountain District. I think I've told numerous people that really this is God's country.
Well, and too with, I don't even know if this is true. Mom told me this just pretty recently. And it was a little story I never knew, but when they were looking around up in Napa Valley here for a property, they were looking all over, and I kind of vaguely, I was only like 5 at the time, so I kind of vaguely remember going and checking out random properties here and there, but I forget what happened, but they had to drive over to Santa Rosa, and they were kind of striking out on like properties. They weren't really finding anything, and it's a long process. Mm-hmm. I'm sure, I forget how long it took you guys, but they're driving over Spring Mountain, and my dad turns to my mom and goes, "I want to live up here." And like a couple weeks later, or a month later, or whatever, the property came up for sale, and bam, that was it.
And what year was that?
And that was 1996.
Yeah. So in
March actually of 96, so pretty recent.
So in honor, we're doing the March 1996 log, and then we also have the March 2022.
There you go. Well, should we start off with an entry from the 1996 log to see what life was like in St. Helena?
Let's do it.
When you bought this place.
Yeah.
All right.
How many years ago? 25 years ago?
Who's starting it off?
Go for it. Do you have a good
All
one?
right.
Matt's got a good one.
I think I have a good one. So this one is Monday, March 11th. And it says, let's see here, Main Street resident reports that a dog attacked a squirrel in his front yard, and the squirrel is still alive. County Animal Control Office contacted but refused to respond. While attempting to contact Wildlife Rescue, police advised by the resident the squirrel is dead. Time of death, 10:59.
In lieu of flowers, please send
Do you
acorns to
think
the family.
the caller was on the phone the entire time, like giving play-by-plays, like they're breathing, oh, it's slowing down, like did Dr. Gould have to come over and like call the time of death?
I'm sure it did.
Surprised it didn't say like, lady is performing CPR on squirrel. It cracks me up how detailed that is.
I'll get one.
I also have an old one. Wednesday at 8:46 in the morning, citizen reports a white lop-eared bunny with one black ear had been in her yard for the past 2 days. That's it.
Well, this is it's before Easter, so
Yeah.
maybe it was Easter bunny just hanging out.
Yeah.
And the fact that she like knew it was there for 2 days,
Yeah.
just kind of like first time called.
Yeah,
Why
exactly.
would you call the police
Yeah.
about
A bunny.
a bunny? Yeah, they're pretty
common around here.
They're pretty dangerous, dude.
Yeah.
So in '96, when you guys bought this place, what was up here? What was it like?
We looked at this place twice before we wound up putting an offer in on it. The first time it came up, it was, God, we got to thinking, this is too far out. And we're used to living out of town anyway. Mm-hmm. We had a horse ranch down in the Bay Area in Clayton before, and we were 12, 15 minutes out of town. but it wasn't a Spring Mountain road. It was a bit straighter. Spring Mountain is, I counted the turns one time coming up from St. Helena to the top of Spring Mountain. I forgot what it was, but it was an astronomical amount of turns. Every time you would turn, like 150 turns or something. But anyway, where I was going with this, was his, kind of lost track.
So you get up here, your first...
First saying it was too far. So then we came back and looked at it again. And we thought, well, maybe we can make this work. So the timing was perfect. The property had been on the market for 5 years. Wow. And they had only had like one offer in 5 years. So I thought, well, now's a good time to throw a number at them.
That doesn't happen anymore.
No, not anymore. Wow. So anyway, we threw a number at them and we came to an agreement and, sealed the deal. And the property has everything. When we were looking at it, it's got the lake, it's got the house, it's got the barn, the garden, the chicken and pigeon house, and a little winery that we didn't really realize. It was a 20 by 20, basically, room, but
have a permit.
It was a permitted winery, so that was the key. So when we decided to add on to the winery, I mean, it was just an addition. We didn't have to go through all the steps and procedures to get the okay to make it a winery. So we just did an addition.
People these days pay a lot of money for a winery permit, and that's really cool.
Yeah.
So when was your first vintage of wine then?
First vintage was 96.
Okay, wow.
Because when we moved here, the property had 3 acres or 2 acres of vines. And there was predominantly Cabernet, probably 85% of it was Cabernet. And then a little bit of Cabernet Franc, and then a little bit of Merlot. So the first year that we didn't know how to make wine, I'm a builder. So anyway, we had all the equipment and everything. So I hired a fella. I ran into him at Sunshine Market. We're standing in line, and it was Phil Steinschreiber. And Phil was a winemaker for Diamond Creek Winery. And I thought, well, hey, he's used to making big reds, and so we got to talking there in line. And the next thing he needed bulldozer work. And I had the bulldozers. And I needed winemaking. So we just traded. So they made wine. They helped us for the first couple of years, And anyway, then our first vintage, 96, we took to San Francisco to the Family Winemakers event. And Family Winemakers event was, there was 200 wineries there. And Linda and I, it's just Linda and I, and it's our first little gig, we're having fun with it. But the trip was, I can remember, it's Sherwin and Schaefer. They're right next to each other. So, Schaefer's been around forever, right? Well, their line is 20 deep. Ours is maybe 2 people.
Guess who everyone went?
Yeah. It was so bad, I had to get out from behind the counter where Linda and I were pouring wine. And I said, I'm going to go out here and I got to do a little promoting, So I just went out there and, started shooting the bull with some of the people. And I go, yeah, their wine's really good. I go, this stuff's junk. You don't want to try this. So anyway, it got their curiosity, right? So they said, well, we'll try it. Anyway, so they're trying it, and the next thing you know, our line's starting to build. And then here comes, this lady's got a badge on, and she's from Wine Spectator. And she says, there's quite a buzz here about this wine. At the show, and we go, wow, that's really great. It's our first deal. Yeah, she says, well, where did you guys come from? And I go, well, we're just a little winery, up on the ridge on Spring Mountain in the Napa Valley. And anyway, and you know how it's kind of like, I don't know, like dumb shit luck. Next thing you know, James Lowby's up here interviewing us.
No way.
It's like we're the new kid on the block up on Spring Mountain Road, and one thing leads to another. One door closes, another opens, and boom.
It's worked out pretty good.
It has, and it's been so much fun. The industry itself is just so much fun, and it's addicting. It is very addicting because when people enjoy your wine, it makes you want to do better. It's a motivator. It's almost like cooking a great meal for your friends, and they're just like, oh wow, this is really good. It's like the pat on the back and makes you want to move forward. But yeah, it's been satisfaction of accomplishment in the wine industry is pretty huge.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it's fantastic. So, Matt, what are we drinking right now?
Yeah, so we're drinking some of our Reserve Cab. So this here is, I pulled out the big dogs for you guys.
Wow.
This is basically a barrel selection that my dad and I do. We only produce about 150 to 200 cases a year. And we go through every barrel, and we kind of cherry pick the top barrels. And because as you know, every barrel is a little bit different here and there. And so select out our favorites, and then we age it for an additional 6 to 8 months. So this is about 30 months on 100% new French oak. And on the Reserve Cab, we always do 100% cab. Just kind of make it structure driven, something kind of, what we believe like a big mountain cab should be. So, yeah.
And it's very pretty. The bottle is very pretty.
All hand dipped in wax.
Yeah.
But the attention to detail you guys have here is, I think, really one of the coolest things I've seen. I mean, from every bottle to every how you make the wine and this property. So that's one cool thing for me. I think that's what people like about like the small producers. Like they really care, right? They want to get that detail in.
That handcraft.
Yeah, and then there's the story behind it. It's interesting. It's fun. It's not the mass produced better wine, right? And the other thing I think is really cool is you guys have the flag on your. Is that the main label that you have?
Yeah, so that's like it's our flagship wine, right? But yes, it's our pride and joy. We're the only producers of alcohol in the U.S. that have permission to place the American flag on the bottles.
There's a story there. So how did
How
that
did you
happen?
get the permission?
So that yeah,
Was
I
it
gotta
an ask
relay
for
it
forgiveness
to
or
a little bit of both. Probably a lot of wine was consumed, but I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I'll turn it over to my dad here because him and my mom are the ones that really got it through. I've just told the story about 150,000 times.
Really? Well, that bottle truly is our pride and joy here at Sherwin Family Vineyards, and we've kind of got developed to be known as the home of the patriotic poor, but really it started after September 11th. After September 11th, and it was a sensitive period. There was an Italian fella here in town at Trevigne, Mario, and he was working together with a group in Italy, and the Italians wanted to do something for the Americans. So their idea was in Lake Garda, Italy, they would have a wine auction. And what they would do is they got Mario, and he got 50 wineries to send large format bottles to Italy. And what they did is the Italians, donated large bottles as well. But what they did is they paired an Italian and American together, and they auctioned them as pairs. And from this auction, all the proceeds were to go to the families of the Windows on the World in New York. So anyway, when they asked us to participate, it's like, who's going to say no to this, right? But I wanted to do something special. So I says, hey, if we're going to send our bottle to Italy to represent the U.S., let's place the American flag on it. Let's etch it and put a little tribute on the back. Well, we have a friend downtown, the Pragers, you know. So Roxanne, and we got with Roxanne, and she etched the American flag, and we put the tribute on the back, and sent it to Italy. And when they sent it over to Italy, they paired us with Sassicaia.
Wow.
So
cool.
that was cool. It went over really well. You know what I mean? And so we were excited about it and jazzed about it. So I told Linda, I go, hey, I'm gonna make some more of these. And we did. We started making more. And then she says, you better watch out. She says, because she's, the goody two shoes. It's like the outlaw in the goody two shoes. So I start making them.
Who does the compliance, right?
Yeah, really.
She does.
Yeah.
I say this sounds a lot like our business partnership too.
Exactly.
So she kind of was harping at me and convinced me, you better make sure that's okay. And I go, well, what do you mean okay? I says, you see the American flag on soup cans, cereal boxes, everything. Anyway, so she talked me into calling the Wine Institute. And we were members there. Mm-hmm. So I call them up and tell them what we're going to do. The guy says, hey, there is no way they're going to let you place the American flag on an alcohol bottle, period. And I go, no kidding. I says, I didn't tell them, well, hey, it's too late. I already did. So anyway, most of these were for charity and so anyway, I thought about it. I said, I'm going to call them back. So I call him back, and I says, hey, is there any gray areas? You know what I mean? I really like to get this done. So I was harping at him, and he says, the best we can do for you is send us a prototype bottle back here to Washington, D.C. He says, our office is across the street from the BATF. He says, we'll walk it across the street for you and see what they got to say about it. Well, it must have been 5 to 5 on a Friday afternoon, because they walked the bottle across the street and boom, stamped it approved over the counter.
No way.
And gave us our certificate of compliance. Yeah.
Wow.
So anyway, that bottle has brought us more satisfaction over the years. I mean, from, oh my gosh, the Folds of Honor, Homes for Our Heroes, Blue Star Moms. I mean, it's just been a great way to be able to give back and help, mostly the military. Mm-hmm. While we're drinking a nice glass of wine, it's nice to know somebody's watching the back door, where we can enjoy our lives. And so that's kind of what that bottle really is about.
Yeah, that's really important. Very cool.
Yeah. It's top on our list. Yeah. Nice. We, anyway, we're just really pleased to have that honor to place the flag.
Well, it's so good. It's so unique to be able to see that, and like I said, you don't get that anywhere else. So, that's fantastic.
Every cellar should have a little patriotic touch.
Yep.
And that I mean, we've done those. How big, Matt? 18.
Yeah, we've done it to 18 liter bottles. We just did.
That's two cases.
I was gonna say, how many
Exactly.
bottles is
Two
that?
cases of wine.
Yeah, two cases of wine. We just did one recently at an auction. I think that, and it was paired with a dinner for like 10 people or something. It went for like $80,000 or something. And so it really, they're not the biggest lots out there, but it shows like what it can actually bring. And because in the beginning, it was a little bit more of like, oh, we'll give a portion of the proceeds to the 9/11 Foundation and keep it going like that. But we're small. It's, a couple $100 here, a couple $1,000 there. And it's just kind of nothing to make a real splash. And
every little bit matters.
Yeah, every little bit matters. But my dad said, well, let's, maybe we should just try donating the bottles and see how that goes at like the end of the year gala or something of that nature. And they donated a 6 liter to, I forget what organization. And if I remember right, it went for like 10 or 11 grand. And they were able to use those funds to retrofit a soldier's or veteran's home who had just like lost both limbs.
Oh,
it
wow.
was I forget exactly how the story went, but it was
like you made a big impact.
Yeah, and it was like, whoa, now we're making a difference as as opposed to where it just kind of goes and you don't really see where it hits. And
you carry that bottle around at any event, and it gets attention.
Yep.
Yeah.
People
It
want to know.
really does.
Mhm.
Yeah, it just give you an idea. You know, Matt and I were at the Napa Valley Wine Auction. So we says, hey, let's bring a 3-liter, and you know, during the auction, you know, it's always nice to socialize and to pour a little wine for winning bidders and that type of thing. So anyway, these fellas are up there, and they won the bid on this great lot. And I says, hey Matt, I says let's grab our bottle and go over there and pour a glass of wine for these guys. You know what I mean? And so we went over there and we started chatting with them, and you know, they loved the bottle, you know, loved the wine, luckily. And anyway, you know, and we get their contact info, and then the next thing you know, this guy is President Trump's personal physician.
Casual.
Is this the guy with the long hair?
Yeah.
Is that the guy?
Yeah, right.
I remember him. Yeah.
and he lives in Jupiter, Florida. You know what I mean? And you know, I'm the kind of guy, you know, I'm a farmer. I'm not a computer guy, right? But Matt follows up.
Yeah.
So the next thing you know, Matt and him are chatting. Matt's going back and he's doing a wine dinner at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah. No way.
Yeah, you know, it is amazing the doors that a bottle of wine will open.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It just, especially the one with the American flag.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, actually, you went back and had dinner first, and then we went back
Yeah.
and did a complete dinner for like 60 people
Oh wow.
at Mar-a-Lago, and they were the most interesting people. It wasn't political, you know, at all, but it was just a members' wine dinner, and there were tobacco growers, coal miners. I mean, the most interesting lot of people that I think had been around at any of our
Yeah,
dinners.
just all good, nice people, and even the folks that hosted me the first time I went back. You know, it was just kind of an email like, hey, you know, gonna be around. Like we had hit it off before, so I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be in town. Maybe we'll grab dinner or something, and you know, whatever. And so we go back, and he's like, hey, actually, he's like, you know, my wife Michelle and I would like to host you at Mar-a-Lago and for dinner. I said, oh yeah, that'd be wonderful. You know, that'd be really cool. It's just kind of somewhere that's a little mysterious and whatever. And so a couple more days goes by, and I'm in Florida at this point. And he goes, hey, I'm gonna need your information. I think the boss might be there. And they all call him like the boss. Everybody in Florida calls him that. And so and this is kind of the funny part. So I'm like, oh well, if he's gonna be there, I don't know, but I should probably go shopping and get like a tie and kind of dress up a little bit. So I go down to like Palm Beach, whatever fashion row that is, had a little, you know, shopping day. And so anyways, I go back to the hotel a couple hours before we're supposed to go to dinner. And I get, and it's just like a business travel hotel, like nothing fancy. And get in the elevator, and a couple military looking guys get in, and they have a case that I can tell that has a rifle in it. And so I'm like, oh, you guys down here on training? And like just trying to spark up conversation. And then I look down, and they're going to the top floor on the hotel, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm stupid. Like they're here, they're freaking snipers that are ready to they're not telling me that like Trump's gonna be landing anytime. And so I go and I get ready and head to dinner, and they had the whole deal, like cell phone jammers there, dogs getting in the car, bomb everything, and sure enough, we're having dinner, walks right in, the whole family's sitting right there, just, you know, as random as could be.
No way.
But it is funny what the wine industry does. Like, you know,
Did he get to try one of the bottles?
He saw it and everything, but he doesn't drink.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
Yeah.
Well,
so that was kind of a
Really
letdown.
appreciate
But
At least you got to see it.
yeah.
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, it is funny. Like I say, you know, the doors and the attention that bottle will get, because we had a fella come here, and for a tasting, just a random fella, and he's from Washington D.C. His name was Marty Gold, and him and his wife came, and it's when we first developed the bottle. So I was always loved to show it to our customers, and I told this Marty, I says, I'd love to get one of these to the president and just tell him, hey, good job, and he pipes up and says, he says, I could probably make that happen for you. And this was after a couple glasses of wine. I'm thinking, oh yeah, right, yeah. He says, I'll call you tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Well, anyway, I'm thinking, sure, this is just liquor talking. Anyway, sure enough, 10 o'clock, right on the button. He calls the next morning, and he says, I've talked to my contacts, and you can send a bottle back and to Washington D.C. And then that bottle got to Camp David on Mother's Day, and it got there without it being checked out.
Wow.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, I guess the Secret Service or something sees this bottle and goes, well, wait a minute, where did this come from?
On the list, yeah.
That hasn't been cleared, it hasn't been checked. So they get the bottle, track it back to us, and call Linda. And Linda, right? Oh my God.
The Secret Service.
It's a Secret Service. What did I do wrong? Anyway, everything was just fine. But anyway, it's just another fun story about the flag bottle. Yeah.
Well, you've had run-ins with the federal government. Have you ever had run-ins with the local
Yeah.
government?
Have you guys ever made the police log?
We've made the county.
Yeah. In
The
recent
county
history, probably been, talked about here and there quite a bit.
Oh,
This
yeah.
outlaw over here.
Yeah. The last thing you want to do is cut an oak tree down in St. Helena.
You're right, yeah.
Oh, man.
It requires a city council meeting to cut down, approval to cut down an oak tree now. Right?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that's the
That
local
wasn't
heritage
police
of-
log. That was front page.
Yeah, really, more than one.
The court of public opinion.
Yeah.
Well, at least there's no crime up here, I could imagine. But down in St. Helena, they have been having quite an epidemic of vehicle break-ins. This is for real. This isn't even funny. And there's like 10 logs here from Thursday, March 10th. 7 in the morning, 8 in the morning, someone rifled through a vehicle on Brown Street and stole about $5.
Winner. $5.
Really
Go buy a Snickers.
cash it in. 8:54, someone rifled, apparently rifling is the new word, through an unlocked vehicle on Allison Avenue and stole a wallet and an iPhone. To which Hillary says, who leaves their iPhone in a car? That was a really poor Hillary impression.
But then I followed up with, oh wait, I almost did that last week. So
Of course. A purse was stolen from a vehicle on Rosebud Lane, 6 o'clock that night. A pair of gold earrings at 11 o'clock the next day, on the 11th of March, were stolen from an unlocked vehicle on Cornella Drive. And then at noon that day, someone rifled through an unlocked car near Main and Cornella. So anyway, I guess the rule is if you don't lock your car, it will be rifled through.
That's kind of like interesting too, because back in high school and just we never lock our doors, or like even at our house, like doors were never locked. My grandparents never really locked their door or anything, and yeah, you used to drive to school, just leave the keys right in it, and the only people that would steal it are your friends that are hiding it around the corner and get a good laugh. But I guess I have bad habits. I still leave my truck running in the parking lot while I go to the store sometimes, and I think I'm about to change that.
You would just leave Levi in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Leave
the
the dog
ranch
in
dog,
there.
nobody would get
AC
here.
running.
No one's messing with them. And then on the 12th of March, 1649, a report of 2 suspicious men trying to sell gold and silver necklaces out of a van near Adams Street. So maybe that's where all the stuff that was rifled from cars went.
Yeah, stolen from around the corner. They're trying to peddle it on the neck.
Locally
great
procured gold.
quality of Napa Valley gold.
Really?
Well, there was report of a loose manhole cover on the sidewalk on Main Street. Someone stepped on the cover, flipped it, and almost fell in.
Ooh.
That's
That
like,
was almost a really crazy police dog story.
It's like the lady that fell into the what do you call it? The you know those big toilets they have that are like holes in the ground at like
septic
at,
tank?
like national parks.
Oh yeah, the ones that.
Did you not hear this? You heard
Yeah,
it.
you got to use. You look down there. It's like, whoa, that is.
So she lost her cell
far.
phone, dropped it down there, and went to try to fish it out, and fell into
the pool is big enough
cistern.
for you to reach in
Oh yeah,
or
they're
fall
huge.
in.
Yeah. So she fell in. The local fire department had to come rescue
I've only
her.
ever used those in like China, and they were a little more rustic.
Anyway,
At least here there's a little plastic like seat on top. Over there was probably just
this
hole
was
in the ground.
literally like
Nadia.
I'd been hiking the Great Wall, and then I was at this random little cafe on the side of a mountain, and it was just a hole.
So do you use the hole or do you go to a bush nearby
better-
because the hole's way too
I
scary?
mean, I took like hand sanitizer, dipped it in tissue, and then like put it in my nose. It
There
smelled
you
so
go.
bad.
Yeah.
So now I want to hear about the toilet paper. What kind of toilet paper is that?
I don't think they supplied anything. It was BYOT, bring your own toilet paper.
only Hillary would have a story of. Well, I was hiking the Great Wall of China. There was a cafe and a toilet in the ground.
We should fill her glass with a little more wine. We're going to get some good stories.
Well, I could keep going. I have a
There's
lot
a
of
lot. Keep going. What else we got?
I have a citizen on Tainter Street reports a brown chocolate lab chasing children. Responding officer unable to find dog. What lab chases children?
You're probably trying to get their lunch money. Their lunch. Lunch money. Their lunch proper.
You would probably
you
go
have a
Nelly.
good one in
Yeah.
there.
I have a good
that
dog
we have a
one.
backstory too.
Sunday, March 6, 10:37. Report of a small gray dog walking by itself on Stockton Street. Okay. Here's another fun dog one. Saturday, March 5th, 2:46 in the morning. So slightly, few minutes after Anna's closed. Report of 3 loose dogs on Main Street. 2 were found and returned to their owner. The other one went home on its own. Okay.
Oh my, oh my.
That's a late night for a dog walk.
It is. It really is.
Do we have any more funny old ones?
I was just looking here. So they seem to be way better stories on the older ones.
Yeah.
In my opinion. This one's kind of funny. It's via 911, a very young child is having a wonderful time playing with the phone.
Wonderful time.
Desk is unable to call back as the child is still playing. Responding officer contacted parent.
Oh my god.
I'm sure all was good.
That's awesome.
There was another one. Oh, this one's kind of alarming. Citizen reports a very sick skunk on Madrona. Animal control responded. Officer reported 4 gunshots would be fired. Skunk removed by animal control.
How big of a skunk was that?
Serious.
4 shots.
Poor
Apparently,
gunshots.
it was not a very good shot.
It's
Yeah,
the
really.
30-pound raccoon's distant cousin.
That's true.
That's hilarious.
And I like that they alerted, like, okay, I'm going to politely tell everyone I'm killing the skunk. Also, stinky.
Oh
Yeah.
God, I know it. Oh,
Like,
they're terrible.
we-
Do you guys have any animal problems up here? There's got to be
Not,
occasional
not
bear.
anymore.
Yeah.
Bear, coyotes, what?
Oh yeah, there's everything up here.
Cool.
Yeah, coyotes. We don't see many coyotes up here, but they're here.
They
I
used
feel
to
like
be,
years
you know,
ago.
quite pretty more common than now. You know, I mean, I haven't seen a coyote here in a long time.
Yeah. Bears are more common here now, though.
Cool.
Oh, wow.
We actually, when in 2020, like August, I think it was, because it must have been a little bit before August, June or July, when we were getting ready for our wedding, for Millie and I's wedding. We were looking down by the barn. The neighbor said, "Hey, we think we had a bear over here," and we're thinking, "No, that's BS. Like, there's no bears up here." And sure enough, we're down by the barn, and it's summertime, so it's like real powdery dust. And sure enough, big old bear tracks, like size of, your hand is the front paw. And so that's kind of. Oh, and then one of our neighbors sent a game cam video, and there was a big old fat bear just eating figs off the tree, and
You live a good life.
yeah,
You know, our neighbors down at Keenan,
Mm-hmm.
they sent us a video of a mountain lion, big
Oh, yeah.
sucker.
that's what we have a lot of up here is mountain lions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And-
it's pretty loaded.
I mean, even our neighbors, just the folks' property right there and right next door, one time their dog was out running around and they just heard yelping and never found the dog.
Yeah. She was down in the garden. I remember it was Maggie Miner.
Yeah.
Down in her little garden. It was next to a stand of trees, and her little dog was with her, and he went out into the stand of trees. Next thing you know, no dog came back.
Do you guys,
Yeah, she
Those little
was.
corgis aren't fast enough.
Yeah,
Their little
yeah,
short
really.
legs don't do
did
it
you
up
ever
here.
get lessons growing up, like if you run into a mountain lion? Like I remember being at a birthday party in like Pope Valley, and they're like, if you run into a mountain lion, like this is what you have to do. Like,
The lesson was don't run into a
yeah,
mountain
yeah.
Birthday parties in Pope Valley have to have lots of different.
But you know what I
Warnings
mean? Just growing
associated.
up here, like where else do you grow up? And like you have to get a lesson on like, okay, if you see a mountain
Yeah.
lion, this is what you do. I've thought about that my whole life.
Yeah, I used to play down in the state park below us, and I remember hiking down around there alone, and I'd have like my knife and, think that I was going to be good. And I remember hiking down and get, half mile in and just be scared because it's dense brush, and you're something's watching you, but it's too dense to even see anything. But now after the fires, everything's kind of cleared out.
Yeah,
And,
the
So
view
now you
from
can
up
stay
here now
pretty
is
high.
incredible.
yeah.
And so your neighbors, how did everyone else fare during the fire?
Well, they burnt down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Miners.
Yep.
Did you know Andre Miner and Beth and them? They might have been a little bit older than you
Yeah,
guys.
they're like Jenny's age.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
oldest sisters. Yeah.
And then Barons and Hitchcock, they burnt down.
Smith and Joan had a couple close calls, but they made it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were. I was down. We spent a lot of time down there with
Yeah.
Stu and
Shoot,
Charlie.
Stu was just sleeping on the ground down there.
Yeah.
And then Kane. Kane was a beautiful winery out there, and it burnt to the ground.
Yeah.
It was really sad. Yeah.
Yeah, we lucked out here though with the vines. The vines were all good. We might have, I call it the crispy edges. There's a couple areas around the edge that got hit, but I mean, that would be terrible to, have to wait. Because it's a 7-year deal by the time you make another bottle of wine that's ready for market out of it. So,
So you started with the 3 acres, and then how many have you added on since?
we have about 17 now. We have about
Yeah.
17 acres, and
We got a logging permit back when we could get one.
Yeah.
And and a vineyard development plan for the mountain area, and so we were like the last rabbit under the wire, getting permits because the Sierra Club sued Napa County, and when they sued Napa County, everything came to a stop. They would not approve any vineyard development plans in the mountains. And the reason they sued them was because they were giving out permits without going through all the right, anyway, what do you call it?
Process or check out the
Yeah, exactly. So we got our plan, luckily, approved. But then as we started, we logged, and then we had a erosion control plan that we had to follow. And and then what happened to us was our property drains into the Boothé State Park. Well, this was the story. The forestry person down in the state park called the county and said there was abnormally murky water coming down through the park this year. Well, we're
There's
the
a
only
bowl here.
Yeah.
Everything goes into the pond, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, and luckily, and then we have another sediment pond too. So we have 2 sediment ponds. So we're catching our sediment, but we had a permit, so they looked to see, well, hey, who's got a permit to develop a vineyard up on Spring Mountain? Sherwin. Okay, so they come up. Oh my God, it was a water quality control board. It was erosion control, fish and game. Oh my God, and they had their backpacks on and their books with them, and they are actually on their knees measuring in between the stalks of our cover crop. Oh yeah, and they're taking water samples that are leaving our property, So anyway, got lucky again. You know, they did a flyover, and they found out that there were so many other vineyards being developed without permits. So that tells you, always better to ask forgiveness, right? Yeah. So anyway, they were draining into Boothhay State Park, and that's where the murky water was coming
Not
from.
you guys.
Yeah, but they took water samples, and they said that, hey, we'll sue you. I think we even got a letter that said that they were going to sue us for $50,000 if that water was coming from us.
Wow.
I remember that
A
too.
lot of red tape, man. Holy smokes.
Yeah, there's fish and wildlife and fishing game out here, and they were looking for the what kind of owl was it?
Spotted.
The spotted owl and some red-tailed frog or something.
Red leg.
I'm like,
Frog with that tail.
red-tailed? My dad was
The
like,
frogs and some problems up here in Spring Mountain.
and I'm like 5 or 6 years old, and I remember my dad coming up to me, "Hey Matt, so if anybody asks you if you've seen any owls or any frogs, just tell them no." I'm like,
Awesome.
yes, sir.
Oh man. Honest to God, you guys, to get a permit to develop in the mountains, it is crazy. We had Indian chiefs here for 2 weeks, walking around, looking for burial grounds, looking for artifacts. Then it was the spotted owl guys. Swear, 2 old timers came out and hooted with their canes. They're walking around for a week to see if any spotted owls responded or were in the area.
New job goal. I want to go hunt for the owls.
Some guys came out with flippers looking for the frogs.
Yeah, bro, they're snorkeling.
So many questions, these jobs that you don't even know exist. How do you get trained in the proper hoot?
I think that's-
what is the certification?
What would you think that the proper hoot would sound like?
Come on, Hill.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
Come on, Hill.
Yeah.
I have a lot of follow-up. I would love to go to a dinner party with these people. Just a dinner party of eclectic jobs and
Yeah.
just have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Does anyone have some good crime for us?
Oh, grind. Yeah.
Here's one. Monday, March 28th at 8 in the morning. Someone cut a lock and stole a bike from Spring Street. A different bike was left behind. Police took a report.
Oh, I have an insight. This was my dad's bike.
Your dad's bike was stolen.
My dad's bike was stolen and they left behind another bike. And he asked him if he could keep the bike like a trade, and
Yeah.
the police didn't go for that.
Let's see why not. Did they? Well, because clearly they had to enter the other bike into evidence to get fingerprints from it and to check where it had been registered, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm
And
sure that
they're
happened.
asking my dad, describe your bike, and he's like, I think it's blue. He didn't really have it was probably 20 years old, and
What was the bike they left behind? Better or worse?
Yeah, you could have traded it up.
well, that's what he's like.
Yeah.
I'd like to keep this bike instead, so I have something to ride. And he's like, they they wouldn't let me do that.
I could see Tom saying that. That's perfect. So I think we've just moved on to the cellar scraps. At least I have. So you guys are on your own.
Watch out,
But
those will hurt you.
this is one of my favorite things you guys make, and I'm really curious the history of this. And it's not. There's no vintage on it. It's just a number. And it's got a really cool different bottle. Obviously still wax sealed. But yeah, tell us the story about the cellar scraps.
Yeah, the scraps is our fun wine of the bunch. It's a non-vintage, non-varietal red wine. And so, as I mentioned, there's just a number on the front. This one here is number 15, so it's just the 15th edition or 15th year that we produced it. There's typically 2 different vintages in here. This one here is mainly 2018, but there's a splash of 2017 in there. And it's basically just leftovers from our estate and reserve cab. I mean, at the end of the day, after you're done blending and everything, you always have something that doesn't quite fit into the blend. And my dad, he was like, hey, we made it. It's good stuff. It just doesn't quite fit here. So, so he never really wanted it to leave the property. And so ended up, I'll let him fill in on, the nitty gritty of the story. But yeah, now it's pretty much all cab. There's about 75 to 80% cab on any given year. We do blend in a little bit of Petite Syrah, and we do blend in some cab from up in Calistoga now too. So something really fun. It's honestly like one of our most popular wines now. It's kind of that Wednesday night. Yeah. You don't feel bad opening it, just having some pizza and kicking back and having a good time.
How'd you come up with the like pirate bottle with that? It's cool.
So yeah, the pirate bottle deal is just something. Where'd you get?
Just something being different.
I remember when you found it, and we were all like,
yeah,
dude, that is crazy. What the hell are you thinking?
Yeah.
And you know what? That is bottles. Well, they were from France.
Yeah.
The most expensive bottle in our lineup
was
that scraps bottle. Yeah.
Yeah, all the most expensive packaging is the scraps.
Yeah.
You know.
And you know the magnums are the funnest because they're blown up of that.
Yeah.
And they take like a 6-liter cork to cork them. Wow. But when you open them up and you pour them, they go like. I mean, it's just kind of.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
How lucky are we though that this is like our pizza wine? That like leftovers of the best is like our pizza wine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, on the back of the label, I always like this. It says cellar scraps, obviously, and then it says, "Don't let the label fool you. This wine is made from leftovers from some of the finest wines ever produced at Sherwin Family Vineyards." And this is the most important part. It was crafted in fun with friends over a glass of wine in the cellar.
Nice.
And I mean, it really does kind of
Truly was.
bring to light what wine's all about. I mean, everybody takes it too damn serious. It's like, let's just make something tasty to enjoy with friends, and you know.
And I think price point, really, it's quality for price point, and it's really our top seller right now.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And how many cases of that do you make?
We do
versus the others.
We do right around 1,000 cases or so. Total production, we do around 3,000. And so our estate cab, we're typically right around anywhere from 700 to 1,000 cases, and then another 200 or so on the reserve.
Cool.
And so, I mean, it makes up damn near half of what we do on the red wine scale. So.
And then are you guys blending together? Are you coming up with the blends? Do you all father-son team?
Oh yeah. Cool. Yeah, so it's really fun to get together, and I mean, it's funny because the scraps probably is one of the most fun to blend. I mean, with the estate and the reserve, we know what we're going for. It's kind of, we have a certain profile. I can't even explain it just because I grew up doing it, grew up with it.
There's nothing that smells better than fresh Cabernet.
Yeah.
No kidding. When we're making it, it's like, there is just something about it.
Yeah.
But, I have a senior moment here. I'm getting too old, I guess. But, I was going to tell you something about those scraps.
Yeah, it's it really is just fun to take everything and just throw it together. I mean, on our reserve cab, we kind of working up to it. We already know what it is, we know pretty early on, like, this is probably going to be the reserve, this is probably going to be the estate, and then the scraps, we just have like 25 different samples that we just need to like
figure it out.
Yeah.
Cool.
You know what I was going to tell you before I had my senior moment, right?
He's back.
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, right.
Oh, he woke up.
I'm over here nodding off, but I'm thinking. We get the funnest emails about scraps because people love to take the scraps to a tasting, one of the high-end tasting, and it's always like to throw in the kicker, right? Well, sometimes scraps comes out on top,
Wins,
and everybody's going, "Oh shit!" You know what I mean? Wow, it's scraps.
What's the normal stuff taste like? Yeah.
And I mean, it's the funnest thing to get these emails.
I love it.
Wow, we took scraps with us to dinner the other night to some friends, and everybody had these $200-300 bottles of wine, and they were brown bagging it, and bingo.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. That's cool.
Yeah, you never know.
So Matt, you've taken on the assistant winemaker role now, right?
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, I've been assistant winemaker up here now for I don't know how long, but
Don't let him fool you. He is now the main dog. You know what? I've had guys come in, right? Okay, so check it out. So the son only listens to dad so much. Pretty soon, dad doesn't know. Right? Okay, so I said, well, I think it's time to bring somebody else in to educate Matt. Somebody that's made wine forever. So I bring in this one guy. Okay, and him and Matt are making the wine the first year, and I'm always observing, and I throw my 2 cents in occasionally, but anyway, they pretty much have the helm, and I'm noticing that this guy is like learning from Matt, and I'm going, well, wait a minute, here I am paying so much, for this guy to be teaching Matt, and Matt's teaching him. Yeah. So anyway, a couple years of that, and I thought, well, we've exhausted him. So then I go to the big dog, which gets 100-point wines, and I hire him, and Matt and him get together, and the next thing you know, I'm feeling the same thing, and you're not supposed to feel that when you're paying a pretty hefty premium. And I go, and these guys are learning off of him because he's anal. He studies it. He gets into it, and he dissects it.
Matt knows what he's doing.
Yeah. And anyway, so I got a hunch he's history.
It all comes with. I mean, I thought for a while too, because I studied finance. I was like, get out of the bubble, go do some stuff and come back eventually, and came back sooner than expected, but was like it was great because I always wanted to be here anyways. It was just a matter of like, all right, you gotta leave for a minute, and so came back, and I mean, I'm definitely a home study and everything, but I could have never learned as much as I did, and really as quickly as I did, if my dad didn't just kind of. I mean, that was my classroom. If I wanted to do something, do it. If I wanted to, and he was never afraid that we were going to mess anything up, or like, we were working together. And like he said, he was keeping a close eye, but he always just said, just keep doing what you're doing as long as you don't screw up. I won't hang you.
Yeah, you feed them wine.
Yeah.
You just feed them wine. Hey, go for it. And when you see them getting into trouble, well,
And you guys somebody you agree on a lot. You have pretty common. What is the one thing do you ever disagree on anything out there?
Never.
I can tell you what the disagreement is. Yeah, I'm not shy. The disagreement is, if this guy, his cleanliness is like unbelievable. It's like, hey, when is it good enough, Matt?
Never good enough.
We need to clean it again. I'm going, really? We're going to use it tomorrow. Anyway, there's some of that kind of thing.
You'll not get any Brettanomyces out of that.
Yeah. Well, and it's just a kind of being scared to mess it up too. Like, you don't want to come in and like you're young, and last thing you want to do is hop up to the helm and be kind of steering it and then crash the damn deal. Yeah. You need to, and so cleanliness is super important. But my dad, on the other hand, he's been doing it for, 27 years now or whatever. And so he's like seen every stage of it. And
you can get away with what you can't get away with.
Yeah, you got to know the crash.
When you don't know,
the tipping point, like driving that car, you got to know when that baby's going to spin out.
Yeah.
So, you just ride
or get stuck in the mud like we almost did.
Yeah.
I think your words were, you either really know your car or you're very lucky right now.
That's exactly it.
Hill was riding the line today.
I love it.
And you have your own label now.
I do.
Yeah, touch on that a little bit.
Sherwin Cellar.
Oh, no, we're not going to talk about that.
No. But it's delicious.
I know, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I finally, decided that I should start doing a little label. And it was more, I treated it as kind of like an experimental brand where I can kind of do whatever I want to do, and not, it doesn't necessarily have to be the same as Sherwin. Of course, there's similarities because I work on both of the wines, but it's something where if I want to, try just doing 100% whole cluster, or whole berry barrel fermentations, like I can do all of it in that, or X amount of pump overs or punch downs or whatever it is a day, and it's it's also nice to use fruit from the property here, and I know some pretty good spots on the property that
No guy.
Really, he does.
He'll
I
never-
call him the cherry picker.
yeah, and he'll never let me go on that. But
Yeah, he goes in the cellar and he cherry picks the barrels. He
Hell
knows,
yeah.
well, I want this one, and that one to make
Yeah.
his wine. I go, you're a cherry picker. Like that.
That's right.
You want to put that on your label,
Yeah, I should. I should just change it to white label with the gold
Yep.
MS right now. I should just change
Just
to
make it a
red
cherry
cherry.
emblem.
Yeah.
Just the
A
emoji,
golden cherry.
Yeah, you know how they all have like insignia has their little
Yeah.
special thing, and
I
yeah.
kind of like that idea.
Or at least on the cork, maybe like a little cherry.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that could be super
Mm.
cute.
So I've been doing that now. I have 2016, 17, and then have 18, which hasn't been released yet, and then 19 was a bit of a bummer. Lost it in the fire, and 2020, of course, it did as well. But one of the big bummer portions of losing 2019 was Amelia. Her dad let me use a barrel of wine from their property, and I was going to do a blend where like the two come together, which would have been really cool because it was also it would have been bottled, I guess. No, it wouldn't have, but it was right around our wedding, so it would have been fun to like do that. And so that was a bummer, but yeah, I'll keep it cruising along.
Well, no, it's great stuff, and looking forward to seeing where it goes. So.
Yeah. Do we
Well,
have one more log to finish us out?
Matt, you
Or
got anything good?
have we got
No, let's
gone
take
through
a
all the
look
good
here.
ones?
I keep going back to the old ones because I think
They're the
Old are
best.
the best.
Let's see. Skunk ones already.
We go back when Nanny was down there, really old. Yeah,
So this one here kind of sounds like something that is
excuse me.
pretty typical for the time because I don't even know if they make this anymore, or at least I haven't seen it. Silly string has been sprayed all over a car on Woodbridge resident reports. Short one, but
I loved Silly String.
me too.
We need to. I bet
Halloween.
Amazon has it somewhere.
Has to. We should stockpile that stuff.
Yes. Have like a Silly String fight or something.
You should put that in with like a collector's pack with the cellar scraps.
Yeah.
Collector's glass, some silly
Yeah,
strings, some
drink
soda
this and
scraps,
go shoot.
some
Yeah.
cherries. You're
Go
set.
shoot them silly straight.
Yeah, do like a 1996 box.
Yes,
And have a silly
exactly.
string,
Could be a
96
4th of
cab.
July deal.
Yes. Only get red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
So if we want to pick up some Sherwin Family Cellars, where do we go? And some
Yeah.
cellars.
Yeah, the best, is just go to our website, sherwinfamilyvineyards.com. You can also Google us, Google Home of the Patriotic Pour. We come up for both of those. And you can always give us a call, too. Our number's on there. It's going to be one of three of us that's going to pick up the phone. So you'll know how to get a hold of us. Just look up Sherwin. So
Well, thank you guys for making some outstanding wine, for supporting service members and veterans, and also a topic that's important to me, and for keeping the family business going.
Yeah. And thank you for having us.
Cool.
yeah, thank
This is
you.
wonderful.
That's
Yay.
been a blast.
Cool.
Well,
My
here's to many
first
more
one.
vintages.
Yeah. First podcast.
Yes.
Congrats, Steve, to that.
You didn't know what a podcast was before tonight.
Cheers.
Well, isn't it always fun to do a podcast with some of your best buds in St. Helena?
I think they're not that we haven't had some very cool special guests, but the ones that we know in the outside world make it even better.
It was very fun, and it was really fun meeting Steve and Linda, Matt's parents, and been a great time. So
Yeah.
awesome family-owned business, and making some phenomenal wine out there. So definitely check out Sherwin Family Vineyards when you can.
Yeah, and be sure to follow us on Instagram at 911 Podcast, all spelled out. Make sure you review and comment on Instagram, 5 stars only. If you're going to do anything less, just don't bother. And that's
And
pretty
Hilliard will
much
try
it.
to sell you a hat too, I'm sure, at some point. So just,
I will.
just drop in the
They're
DMs.
stylish.
Oh my God, they're very cool. All right, everybody, have a good one. Thanks for joining.
Bye.
your evening and be safe.